First time I saw a computer was when I come to the States at 11. I had no idea. Like, I shouldn't be here right now. I think about this every day. I'm blessed to wake up in the land of freedom. I'm blessed to be an American now. I'm proud of my roots, but sometimes I'm like, oh my God, how did I get this lucky?
There's a book called The Hypomaniac Edge. I recommend everyone read this book. It talks about what makes America successful is that America is a nation of risk takers. The risk takers are the immigrants.
I think Hispanics, they have a lot of respect for being in a land of freedom. For some reason, the data doesn't lie. The consumer in the Spanish community ends up being way more loyal. I feel like right now it's like a race to the bottom when it comes to the quality of content. For us, it's not just the creative side, it's also like, okay, how do the numbers make sense? So a lot of the times we have to make the decision of like, okay, how can we attract enough audience and bring down those CPMs, have engagement, but also cater to the buyer.
You can't make money without creating value. I wouldn't be where I am without creating immense value. You could talk about putting up 17,000 leads a day, $1 million in revenue, but if your leads aren't converting for your client, none of that fucking matters.
You can only build a relationship on trust and on being reliable to your partners and also on quality. At the end of the day, it's a business. At the end of the day, we all have to make money, but we always put the interest of our business partner before ours. But I think when you change that perspective of selflessness, I think business just happens naturally.
Shout out to Ringba, shout out to Adam Young, the pay-per-call revolution. There's big money in pay-per-call, whether you're someone who's a novice looking to get into it, whether you're someone who's already doing it, putting up big numbers. Let's fucking do this, guys. Get the fucking book on Amazon. We're gonna drop a link here. Take your shit to the next level. Let's fucking go. We're back, baby. We were in Dubai, we were in Medellin, now we're back in Miami. Actually, we're in Doral, Venezuela, also known because of a huge population of Venezuelans here. Fucking love Venezuelans. Let's go. Anyway, I'm here with one of my favorite people in the industry, my man, Manny Perez-Trujillo.
Thank you, bro.
Good to see you, man. Give you a fucking hug right here.
I have to say the same.
So check this out. In Colombia, I've been drinking aguardiente, right? We're in Miami. We're drinking Clase Azul here. And check this out. I don't know if anyone knows this. I was in Dubai. I learned this trick.
Oh.
You didn't know about that, right?
I have no idea you could do that.
No one knew about this shit. It's fucking crazy. So let's put this away. Let's do a shot. And let's get this fucking show on the road, baby.
All right, brother.
Here we go.
Oh, here we go.
Damn, man. Anyway, so check this out, right?
Way to start.
I feel like we've known each other like 5 or 10 years, right? And I think it's been a year and a half, 2 years. I don't even know, but it's been, we've traveled a lot together. You came to the call center in Colombia. I appreciate you coming down there. That was freaking great.
You should put a clip of the welcoming.
Oh, that was the best. That was the best entry, the best welcoming we did. That was like,
dude, I'll never forget that day, dude. I've never been received like that or surprised like that. It's crazy.
Didn't it make you feel good? You had like the
oh man, I feel so important, dude. Yeah. I'm like, I don't deserve this.
No, you do, man. You're putting up, you're doing great things. And let's talk about that. When people come to visit my office or my calls, I want people to feel fucking, especially people I like. I want them to feel warm and fuzzy. I want them to remember that. It brings a connection, man. Is what
for sure.
Does,
no,
right?
100%, man. 100%.
Yeah,
I'm there with you, man. I felt that way.
I felt that way. You walked up like, wow, we fucking went all out, man.
I was crying, dude. I was laughing so hard that I was crying, man. I couldn't believe it.
That was good. It was authentic. Yeah, we gotta go to that. But anyway, we've known each other for a while, so let's talk about how we met, right? Because I gave a speech in Barcelona at Affiliate World, and you were there in the audience, right? And then we met right afterwards. So let's talk about that and how this all built up. Because that's what I like about our industry is that it's these little things that add up to big things later on. Right?
100%, 100%. Well, I think the first time that I saw you was in a video actually from Geek Out. And when I saw your presentation, I was like, oh man, I gotta meet this guy. Like, man, this guy, he talks my language. Like everything you said man, connected with me so well that I'm like, man, I need to talk. I need to meet David. And so when I saw you speaking in Barcelona, I'm like, okay, this is the chance to meet David. So I remember you got out of the presentation and of the stage, and I was like behind, like waiting for you like a fangirl.
I've done that shit too with other people, man.
David, bro, man, nice to meet you. So we started talking about. I remember we started talking about debt because for you in that presentation in Geek Out, you were talking about how big the opportunity for debt was. And that resonated with me. I think that when you look at macroeconomics, we're in 2024, by the way, when you look at the macroeconomics, I mean, debt is like all-time high right now, Q1 of 2024. And
It's over $1 trillion now, right?
Exactly.
1.2 trillion, something crazy.
it's crazy.
Yeah, and
So-
that's credit card debt or consumer debt, right?
Exactly, credit card debt to be specific, yeah. And automatically I'm like, okay, yeah, he's totally right. And as a matter of fact, we were already testing that vertical. We hadn't cracked it yet, but we already tested that vertical. By the time I met you in Barcelona, we had already cracked it.
Yeah.
I remember at that time we were doing about 7,000 calls a day in debt, which I didn't even know it was like a big number. You know what I mean? We come from like the lead gen space, and we just got into pay per call like about a year and a half ago. And when I told you about we're doing 7,000 calls, you were like, really?
Guys, think about 7,000 calls, and what's the market value of these calls? 50
Well,
bucks, 70 bucks?
Yeah,
Is
it ranges from 50 to 70, sometimes even
it's
80.
a lot of money,
Yeah.
a lot of revenue.
A lot of revenue, a lot of volume. And man, so I knew I needed to connect with you because I mean, I think your special power is, man, in terms of like entrepreneurial spirit and in terms of like, you know, being a good CEO and projecting that good energy and just lighting up the room. I think that there's nobody in the industry like you, David. And I gotta give you props for that.
Thank you. It means a lot to me, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah, definitely. And that energy kind of like, you know, helps anybody else because it kind of rubs up. And at the same time, it's like we all have to be very, you know, enthusiastic and very, you know, good energy. Even if you have obstacles in business, which always happen, you always have to look at the good side and be positive and kind of like, you know, let's fucking go. Let's make it happen.
Fucking go. You're right, man. But you're like that too at the end of the day, right? I think that's all we connect. We have every time I've been out, and I wish you were in Dubai with us, man. That was a whole other story. But like everywhere we've gone.
Don't remind me.
Yeah, I know. It's a crazy story. But by the way, if you go to Dubai, what's the story? You got to make sure your passport is 6 months or something before expiring.
Yeah,
or something
it can't be it can't be more than 6 months from expiring by the time you enter Dubai.
Yeah.
So anyways, mine was like 5 months and 20 days.
Bro,
expiring.
I don't know if anyone watched the movie War Dogs, right? But I had a fucking... You watch War Dogs? You got to watch it.
No, I haven't.
So anyway, in that movie, these fucking guys have to go to... I think they have to go to Iraq or somewhere, man. They do some crazy... They take a flight to Jordan. They get on a fucking camel to do this. They go to like the triangle. I was gonna do that for you. I called up my boys. I'm like, bro, we gotta get Manny to Jordan, and we're gonna have to do. I really fucking called a guy for you. I put you on a three-way text. Yeah,
I know. When I read the word camel in the group chat, I'm like, is this really happening right now? Are they really?
I wanted you there that fucking bad. I had camels on deck for you, bro.
You were gonna smuggle me through freaking Iraq?
No, we were gonna smuggle. We can't say that word, but we're gonna do something similar. You know, it's kind of like fucking legal. You know, we always say, you know, this black hat, this white hat, like we're gonna stay like kind of in the gray, but it would have worked, man.
Bro, that's the least,
I think it would have worked too.
That's the least I expect from a friend.
That's what I'm talking about. Because we've had so many good fucking times together, man. I love that energy, man.
We have.
So this is fucking great. So I think something interesting about you in particular is that you see this whole your unique power. You talk about my unique power. I'm all about fucking energy. I'm gonna go through 100 through this fucking energy. It's not gonna stop, right?
Yeah.
Your energy, you got great energy too, but
Thank you,
your special power is that you see this whole game from a different perspective. You're one of the unique people that you're a people person, but you're super analytical, and I think that comes from your architectural background. And I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, it helps you when it comes to building out these campaigns. I mean, I want to touch on that because I think that's a very unique thing you bring to this.
Absolutely. No, yeah. I think that my architectural background gives me a different perspective in the space. I think that uniqueness is good for everybody. I think everybody has a very unique way of looking at things, right? Depending on their background. For myself, actually, my business partner too, he's a mechanical engineer. So
that Chris?
No, Olivos.
Okay, man, yeah.
He's a mechanical engineer.
Yeah.
And you know, he brings that different way of looking at things, very analytical way of looking at things, perspective. And in my case, it's more of like, you know, a mix of creative and also analytical, because I feel like if you think about architecture, it's a mix of both, right? You have your math and you have your creativity. Yeah. And I think in a way that has helped us with the creative side of the business, you know, coming up with like very different angles that nobody has thought of, or, you know, starting tendencies that nobody has even thought about. So I think that's really helped us out in that perspective. And also the analytical side, the math side, it also helps with running a business, right? Like to run the business, you have to look at, you know, am I making logical decisions? Am I making decisions that are backed up by my finances, backed up by, you know, what the macroeconomics of today are? So I think that we base our decisions in a very analytical way, but we are very open and creative to make sure that the analytical side doesn't really put us in a box. To make sure that creatively we're always open and excited to innovate, to do things that nobody else dares to do, like throwing a car from 30 feet in the air in one of our auto insurance videos, or robbing a bank. Nobody has thought about doing that in the space. You know what I mean? And we almost went to jail, by the way, in that video. So
Yeah, we're gonna cut to that.
Do not do this at home. Do not do this at home. But yeah, man, we're very innovative. We like to do cool stuff, and we also like to. I think that in our team, I think what makes our team special is that our creative side is very strong. I think that when you look at our creative, you like, okay, man, these guys went out and beyond on the creative side. But I think that in the case of the analytical side, we also make very good decisions, right? And that's where my business partner, Manuel Olivos, kind of deals with the day-to-day of how to run campaigns, how to optimize campaigns, and then giving that feedback back to the creative side. Right now in our company, Chris Groves is our business partner. He runs the creative side. I kind of help with him. I kind of tag along with him, but I'm not longer doing that. I'm kind of working on business development for the company. But on the creative side, we take that feedback from the analytical side. It's almost like your left brain and your right brain talking to each other. And when that happens, I think that's very powerful, very, very powerful in the industry.
Yeah, I think you guys have a very good chemistry. I've seen Chris with you guys at shows.
Yeah.
Manny, great. I mean, you guys just have a good connect. It's good to gel. I had a company where it was we had one of them was 4 partners, right? All great guys, but it's sometimes it's tough when you have so many chefs in the kitchen, right? It's just, but you guys somehow make it work. And I think it's because you guys see things from a different perspective. And speaking of Chris, what I found amazing, I want to shout somebody out, and I think this person deserves to be shouted out. But Peter Day, by the way, great. Peter and Tyler Day, great podcast. Anyone's wants to learn more about growing in the industry, listen to their podcast. It's phenomenal. But Peter Day, he was one of the first people that got to crack solar on TikTok. I tried working with people on TikTok. No one can fucking make that work. We got to 5 figures a day with him. And we were at a show in Chicago. You remember this? We were at a show in Chicago. And then Peter Day, which I fucking really respect and admire, he's like, yo, this is Chris. Like, I was one of your students. Like, it was like a crazy, it was like him meeting one of his idols. He was so fucking excited to see him. And I knew Chris through you guys, but I didn't realize how, for Peter Day was putting up massive fucking numbers to be saying that about Chris. I'm like, it made me look at Chris from a whole different, and Chris is funny because he's not very like, he's not super outgoing. I mean, he's a nice guy, but like, it was cool to see that because I'm like, man, this guy's a real fucking deal. I mean, so I think that, I want to touch upon that because partnerships are not, sometimes it's just hard to make everyone happy. But you guys are able to do it. So I think you got Chris, you got Manny, you got you. It all comes together. So
absolutely. I think the biggest thing, I mean, having a partner is not easy. It's like, we always talk about it, it's like marriage without sex. It's pretty much.
That is fucking great.
It's pretty much the same thing. So I think communication is key. I think respect is like, is the backbone of dealing with a good, partnership. I think mutual respect and understanding where the 3 of us actually bring strengths to the table, and being aware of what our weaknesses are. It's totally cool. We're human, and helping each other to make it like a very strong blend of strengths, right? And to cover up all our weaknesses. So I think communication is key. For us, I mean, I totally have so much respect for my business partners. Manuel Olivos, shout out to him. We started Leads Icon, 5 years ago, the 2 of us, right? Now we have 40 employees in the Leads Icon side, but it was the 2 of us grinding it out until like 6 a.m. every day. So nothing that we have achieved would have happened without that, And so Chris actually has been an OG in the industry. Like you said, he taught Peter Day. I mean, crazy, trajectory on his career as well. And so, things happened. I mean, we ended up collaborating in a project together, and we had a crazy chemistry at the beginning. And so it was.
What was that? Was that a lead gen project? What kind of project?
It was like a pay-per-call project.
Okay.
It was a pay-per-call project, and we collaborated, and things went really well for us. We ended up finding out that we have a lot of things that make us think alike. The creative side, kind of like it's weird, man. We finish each other's sentences. Like, I've never seen this before with anybody else. Like, we'll be thinking about something out of nowhere. We say something at the same time. Nice. It's like we have very similar ideas. Good chemistry. And so from the beginning, it was like, okay, I think that the most powerful structure for our company is if we divide and conquer. So Manuel Olivos focuses more on the analytical side of the company, also operational side of the company, the numbers. And Chris works more on the creative side. He's a creative genius. So he is very good with like dealing with the team and kind of coaching the team and getting that creative side of the business. And I work on new partnerships. I work on the business development side, bringing new opportunities to the company. So the three of us, the cool thing about the three of us is that each of us could pretty much run the whole show, because we all have done it at some point. We all have our own businesses at some point, but we understand that together we make a way more powerful impact in the industry. And so it's understanding that, respecting that, and moving forward and rowing the boat the same direction.
And I see that you guys are singing from the same sheet of music, and that's hard sometimes in a partnership.
Yeah.
Right? And I see that you guys are doing it, which is amazing. And I want to talk about the creative side, because I think that's really the unique strength in what you do. And you couldn't do these numbers if you guys weren't aligned and everyone's in the right lane.
Yeah.
You're in your lane, Chris is in his lane, Manny's in his lane, but you all get together, right? And that's when that lane that you guys are going super fast, like a fucking Ferrari V12, right? 200 plus miles an hour with no hiccups. So
Sometimes a few hiccups sometimes.
Yeah, there was always hiccups, right? That makes it fun though, and you gotta adjust the hiccups. But we'll talk about that in a bit. But what really sold me on you, because listen, everything's a fucking sale at the end of the day. When I spoke to you, people come up to me after I speak on stage. It happened to me in Dubai. Everywhere I go, and people are like trying to pitch me some shit, right? But I saw you were in Miami. I knew I was gonna be moving to Miami. Like, this is great. I want to build a network out there, right? And you mentioned the geek out thing, so you knew some shit. And then you told me the numbers, and so many people fucking talk numbers. There's so much money talks, bullshit walks, right? That's what they say in New York. And money
Good
talks,
things I've showed you the numbers.
you did. You showed me the fucking numbers, which is cool. When I met you the first time, and not only that transparency, you got the balls to show me that shit.
Yeah.
And not only that, you showed me the fucking actual ad. You showed me an ad of a car on top of a fucking building being dropped. Like, it catches your attention, man. It was kind of like almost like a Mr. Beast kind of thing.
Yeah.
Feel without, like, it draws you in, because at the end of the day, when you're online, we're competing for people's attention.
Yeah.
You're right. That's what it comes down. You compete for someone's attention, and when you see like, it was a very fast pace, it's a scroll stopper. You're stopping the fucking person from scrolling so they can see your shit. Click on your ad and boom.
Yeah.
So I want to show that on the show.
Clip,
Are we cool with showing that clip of that?
100%. Do this. Why the if I lower their car insurance, they give me $1. If I can't, I'll have my car dropped from 20 feet on the ground. What the Why the did you drop it?
Yes, he did lower my insurance. $56 monthly.
That was amazing.
Yeah.
So I want to talk about the evolution. How did that come to fruition? What was the thought process, and how much money did that bring you guys in terms of revenue?
Yeah, that's been one of our top sellers for sure. At the time, by the way, Chris wasn't in the picture at this time. It was Olivos and myself. It was just two of us at this time. So this video was, dude, it was like, I want to do something big. I want to do something nobody has ever dared to do before. And I'll go the extra mile if I have to. We got lucky because Manuel's dad at the time owned a junkyard. And so
Hector?
Oh,
wow.
Yeah, he owned a junkyard, and think about it, bro. Think about the liability involved in somebody throwing a car. Like, think about the licenses and all the liability involved in making something like that happen. So it was a little bit of like, okay, we got lucky that we were allowed to do that by him. But yeah, we ended up buying a car, and we're like, you know what? We need to do something.
How much did that
big.
car cost?
It was like $4,000.
Okay.
And we're like, we need to do something big. I mean, we know that the first 3 seconds of a video is where the magic happens. Like, it doesn't matter how good, elaborate your video is. If you lose somebody in the first 3 seconds, it doesn't matter. They're not going to see the rest of the video. So you can have a great call to action. You're going to have a good body in your video. But if you don't grab the attention, that's what it's all about. We're competing for attention.
Absolutely.
We're competing for real estate in the digital world. And so I remember I'm like, I want to start the video with like, man, a scroll stopper. Something that nobody will, like, something that people watch, they're going to have to, I need to see more. So we thought about, by the way, we actually named it a strategy. We called it the cliffhanger. So the video starts with the car being dropped. And before it hits the ground, we switch to like another climax in the video. So them fighting, I'm like, why do you throw the car? So, but nobody has seen what happened to the car. And the human mind automatically is very curious to find out what happened, you know? So they end up watching the whole entire video. So that video had, the engagement in that video was, you know, like we've never had a video with that type sort of engagement. And it was because people were really curious to find out.
I was too.
So yeah, exactly. So that video, man, I mean, in terms of numbers, that video was for auto insurance. It was generating 17, 18,000, even 20,000 leads per day. I think it peaked out at 20,000 leads per day on auto insurance, which is pretty incredible for 2 people running the show.
Crazy, yeah.
And it was generating about $100,000 of profit per day.
That's insane.
Yeah. Yeah, it was like 225,000 revenue per day and 100,000 of profit per day. And the best part is that it was generating amazing quality.
Age data. There's only a few months left of this.
A lot of different ways to monetize data. Data is a very broad term. There's a lot more money in it. You already spent the money. Let's just say it cost you $10 for a Medicare lead. You make $1 million in sales, you really only made $100,000.
And you might not get paid by your advertiser.
What if I can get an extra 50 cents, $1, $2, $3 per lead in perpetuity? What does that do to my marketing campaign? What does that do for the stress of the profits of my company? A percentage or two at those kind of numbers are huge as moving the needle. So for us, what I love about age data, the hard part's already been done. Now it's just the revenue left for your company. What would the extra $10, $20, $30,000 a week do for your business?
Absolutely.
All of our big partners are making hundreds of thousands, if not millions a year with us. They're never going to have this gold rush again.
Amazing quality, because we were not promising something that was, you know, we were not showing like, you know, like a scam or anything like that. It was like very engaging because of what's happening in the video, but we're actually showing the actual product. Like, hey, we're helping people save on their car insurance.
I'm glad you talked about the quality, because I'm realizing this. You know, I started the LFG show, and a lot of my stuff is how do I hook people, make money. Everyone wants to make more money, right? Make money, travel the world, all that shit. So I talk about that a lot, but sometimes I get nervous. One of my self-conscious things, like maybe I'm talking about this shit too much, but you can't make money without creating value, right? I wouldn't be where I am without creating immense value. You wouldn't be where you are without creating value. So I'm glad you mentioned about quality, because we could talk about putting up 17,000 leads a day, 200,000 in revenue, 400,000, $1 million in revenue. But if your leads aren't converting for your client, it doesn't. None of that fucking matters, because then you're losing money, right? You can
100%.
So you got to hit the KPIs in place. So I think that because you guys have the scroll stoppers, you're able to create unique ads that get the people's attention. They click on it. And obviously, someone's going to click on it. There's a demand. And I think auto insurance. I know auto insurance has these ups and downs, peaks and valleys, but you guys crushed it for a while on that, and I think that's a testament. And now you guys went from auto insurance. You guys are crushing debt.
Medicare,
right?
Yep.
And you use that to get you to the next thing. And I want to talk about the bank now, because the bank video is another one that I think did the same effect as the car. It gets you to like, what the fuck is going on? You guys almost got arrested because of this.
We almost got arrested.
And was that here in Doral that you did that?
That was directed by Chris and I. We got together and we did the video. Actually, I even come on in the video. But you won't know who I am because I have a mask.
You had a mask on, yeah.
But at some point in the video, we're doing like social experiments where we're giving out money, and the actors that we paid for were like, no, I don't feel comfortable doing that. What if they reject me? They're gonna be scared. I'm like, you know what? I'll do it.
After days of planning, we decided there's a legal way to rob a bank, and it might be easier than you think. So we headed to our first spot, where we found the perfect people to help with our first legal robbery.
Go!
This, bro.
Take the money.
Yo.
Take the money.
Yo. That's not funny. That's not funny. I don't like that. That's not funny, bro.
Take the money. Here.
Nah, bro, I don't like this game.
No, you gotta
That's
take the
not
money.
funny. You know when we go around these things, you can get beat up, right? That's not funny. That's not funny. You can't go up to random people like that.
And they weren't so happy, but we are about to change their lives.
Congratulations, we just relieved $24,280 in credit card debit?
I ended up handing out money with like the freaking mask. But yeah, man, that video was risky. I remember waking up that morning. I mean, obviously we planned for this video for about 2 weeks. And Chris came from Arizona. He was staying at my house. I remember waking up that morning and we're like, Chris, man, are you sure about this? Like, bro,
you got nervous.
Yeah, bro. Imagine a video about robbing a bank. Like, we went around a van with like people on a mask, like Money Heist style mask, and the red hoodie.
What
and
year
everything.
was this? Was this when Money Heist was
Bro,
hot?
this was last year, 2023.
Oh, okay.
And so, bro, going around banks and like coming out, like instead of like robbing the money, we're giving back money. Because that's the whole point of debt consolidation. You know, in a way, you're kind of like not robbing money, but you're taking money away from the banks and you're negotiating that to give back to the customer. So that was the whole concept of the video. That was the genesis of the video. Is like, okay, how do we make that concept of giving money back to people? Because, you know, and we're like the Robin Hoods of money, right? If you will, right? Like, you know, banks are taking money from people with crazy interest rates. So we're trying to negotiate with the banks to give you back the money. So instead of like, give me the money, we'll be like, take the money. So it was kind of like the juxtaposition of that idea, right? And it ended up like, people love the concept, but obviously for us as, you know, directors, we can't make a video like that telling actors that was going to happen. So the way that we actually got a good, authentic reaction is that we hired 2 sets of actors. We hired 3 actors that would be dressed up and be inside the van scaring people. And then we would hire actors that would be by the ATM. And those actors didn't know anything about the video. Only the people with the mask knew about the video.
So it created more like realism. Like
they had no idea.
Wow.
They freaked out, man. They freaked out. So we just told them, I mean, it was these 2 girls, and we told them, look, go by the ATM, just pretend that you're taking money out. We're doing this ad for credit card debt. Just pretend that you're taking money out. We're gonna get the B-roll of that. And they had no idea that behind that, we had a whole crew on a van, like ready. Like we even had drones following the van, bro. And the van comes in like super like crazy speed, brakes super fast. The guys come out and they with like, bro, it's like, bro, telling them, give me take the money. They freaked out, which is what we wanted, right? We wanted authentic reaction. As a matter of fact, when we threw the car, we did the same thing. I didn't tell the girl that we were dropping the car. So we got a really authentic reaction.
Yeah.
Man, so that ended up making the whole entire video. And then obviously we had to, at some point, dude, in the video, they were like, you know, super scared. So we had to end up telling them, hey guys, this is part of the video. It's all good. And they're like, oh my God, you can't be doing this to me. We felt a little bad, man. Honestly, that was a little risky, to be honest with you. But they ended up laughing it off. And, you know, at the end of the day, it was cool. But yeah, it's very risky, man. We got kicked out of 3 banks. Like at some point, security came. We found a loophole, bro. Because the thing is, like, if you record the video from the sidewalk, which is a public space, technically, you shouldn't get in trouble. Like if they tell you to leave,
but you're not on their property, is what it comes down to.
Exactly. Yeah. If they tell you to leave, we just leave. And that's what we ended up doing. But we did that in 3 different banks. And so it was risky because every time it was like either the cops or the securities from the bank. But anyways, that video ended up doing really well for us. So he paid back.
This is a great story because in business, we're all competing. In our world, we're competing for people to click on eyeballs and stop scrolling and all this shit, right? Yeah. We're competing for their attention. But what you guys did was you were able to come up with something very, kind of like ingenuity. It's unique. You came up with something unique. And it's kind of like that Mr. Beast concept. And you think this guy's making ridiculous amounts of money because he's getting people to stop scrolling. But you apply that to the digital marketing space.
Paid advertisement, yeah.
Paid advertisement. And if it gets people's attention, and the truth of the matter is we're over $1 trillion in debt in America. I think 40% of people or 50% have X amount of credit card debt. So there's just a 1 in 2 chance that whoever fucking stopped to look at that has credit card debt. And like they like that. You appeal to their emotions, their logic, like, let me click on this ad. Boom, it converts really well for your client. And you could charge a premium for that lead at the end of the day. You're not competing with a network that's charging $50. You could charge a premium for that lead because it's going to convert better.
100%. I think what ends up happening is that I feel like right now it's like a race to the bottom when it comes to the quality of content. So a lot of people are doing, talking about benefits, showing off things that are not true. For us, we're like, okay, we need people's attention, obviously, because if we don't bring the attention of the people, then we can't, our ads are not going to be profitable. So for us, it's not just the creative side. It's also like, okay, how do the numbers make sense? And so a lot of the times we have to make the decision of like, okay, how can we attract enough audience and bring down those CPMs and have engagement, but also cater to the buyer, right? The buyer needs quality. The only way that we can get to high volume is if we have quality. If our traffic is shit, we're not going anywhere, right? So that's very important for us, is keeping the right blend of attention grabbing, but also quality. So what we do, for example, in that video, we actually disqualify people that don't have more than $10,000 in debt because our buyers prefer over $15,000 in debt. So, we kind of sandwiched that into the video. We're like, okay, you know what? Oh man, I'm sorry, you don't have over $10,000 in debt. I'm sorry, you don't qualify, but here's $100. We still want to help you out. You know what I mean? So that in a way kind of caters to the buyer. That's the only way that we've been able to. Anytime that we got to high volume is about focusing on quality first. And I think that's something that everybody else, I mean, I'm not trying to shame anybody, but like I think the industry is like right now it race to the bottom. How do I get more attention for the cheaper clicks? But at the end of the day, it's like how scalable is that? It's not really a long-term play. And for us now that we're actually thinking, like we just opened our debt floor, so we actually are thinking the long run of like, how can we run the whole operation from A to Z? Now, especially now, we care more about quality because we see the numbers in the back end. At the end of the day, we have to have quality first. And the attention grabbing just comes naturally for us because it's part of our process. But quality has to come first if you want to have a long-term business.
Because your clients are paying, they're your customer. The customer is always right. You got to hit the numbers to keep the budgets going. And you guys have been masters. I know from my time of being with you, and you focus a lot. You talk about your clients hitting KPIs. You're proud of 100%. You told me your KPIs with debt, which are unbelievable, and you're doing that consistently. It's not like it's like,
yeah.
You guys are doing consistently. I think because you focus on that quality. So that's great to hear. And I want everyone to listen to that because you're right. You get in this business because you obviously want to make money, and there's all these stories. And our business is kind of fucked up, and it's great, but it's fucked up because you see us traveling, doing this and doing that, going, having, eating expensive dinners, doing this, doing that. But that comes after years and years and years of providing quality. Once you provide quality, you can do this shit. You can wine and dine and whatever. But if you don't provide quality, you're never going to get to that point. Right? So I'm glad you talked about that. And that's something I've been wanting to talk about with the audience. I feel I've been talking about numbers and this and that, but without the quality, you're never going to get to that point. It's that bridge that gets you to that next level.
100%. I think actually one of the things that when I watched the Geek Out speech that you did, I thought about that for a second because you talked about the importance of building a relationship, a long-term relationship with your clients, with your buyers. You know how you took them to Disney World.
Yeah.
I mean, you freaking took me to Colombia, and you guys.
Was that your first time there in Pereira or
yes.
Colombia?
It was we have a team in Bogota, but like in Pereira was our first time. And man, like that building that relationship, you can only build a relationship on trust and on being reliable to your partners, and also on quality, right? I mean, the only reason why we dominated, I feel like we kind of dominated the debt space last year was because the fact that we focus on quality first. When you look at the payouts of the industry right now, we get paid way more than anybody else gets paid. But the reason why is that we took us 6 months of losing money to build that trust, to build that relationship with our buyers, and get to the point where, you know what, we're bringing in way better quality than everybody else. At the end of the day, it's a numbers game. The average debt amount is over $25,000. Our metrics, our KPIs are, deserving of more payout. And what that does is that once you understand that conversation with your partners, it becomes easier to dominate the space, because now you're not competing against everybody else that's doing the race to the bottom thing. Now you're racing to the top. Now you have way more oxygen to build up that quality even more. So that's basically our strategy. Every single time we meet with a partner, every time we meet, it doesn't matter what vertical it is, we always cater to them. It's like, okay, how can we get to your KPIs? Because I know that behind that is scale. Behind that is scale, and behind that is building a long-term relationship. And I think that's what we've always done with you. That's what we've done with everybody that we've worked with. Is like, okay, guys, how do we make a real business out of this?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So yeah, I think you always preach about that, and I totally agree with you.
You have to, and I feel like I haven't preached about that enough on this show. It's been, again, we just started the shows. I'm like, whatever.
Yeah.
But the point is that I love that you talked about that, because that's really the key to all this stuff at the end of the day. And I last interview we did was with Michael Walker in Medellin, and he talked about these guys put up stupid numbers, multiple 6 figures a day in pay-per call. And I'm like, how do you manage that from a cash flow perspective?
Shout out to Michael Walker.
Yeah, shout out Michael Walker. Yeah, Philly in the house. Anyway, so the point is, he talked about, I was like, that's got to be one of the challenges. But he said he knew the value of his leads. He knew the value that he was producing. And what it comes down to, we're not just a lead vendor. We're a partner in their business. They're relying on us. So everyone else is getting paid net 30. He's setting up deals where he's getting paid next day. or every 2 days.
Absolutely.
And that's what fixes the cash flow problem, because without his leads, without your leads, without our leads, they can't hit, they're under the same pressure we're under. They got to hit numbers. We got to hit numbers with quality, right? So once you do that and you know your value, and I think this happened to me in the beginning, I would just submit to payment terms. Oh, net 30, all right, fuck it, next 30. That sucks, but you would just take it. But once you know your value, and that's the message, you got to stand up for what you know what the fuck is up. If you know you have good quality, hey, better payouts, better payout terms, because you deserve it at the end of the day. No one else is fucking doing it.
Let's build this up. Let's scale, right?
Yeah.
I think that one principle that we have at Leads Icon is that we, especially for the leadership team, right, our partners, is we always put, at the end of the day, it's a business. At the end of the day, we all have to make money, but we always put the interest of our business partner before ours. And I think that it's very hard to do that. It's easier to say it than to do it. But I think when you change that perspective of selflessness, I think business just happens naturally, right? And so for us, is like, okay, how can we cater to the KPIs of the buyer in this case? And it doesn't matter what side of the room you're in, right? For example, for us now, we're starting to buy debt calls because of we have our own floor. But how do you cater to your partner's interest before yours? And I think if everybody did that, it would be we would live in an ideal world.
Absolutely.
But sometimes you have to set the example of like, hey man, I actually care about your business, like scaling. I actually care about doing this together. We're not thinking about us. We're not thinking about Leads Icon. We're thinking about our partnership. How can we grow together? How can we both make money? At the end of the day, that's all that matters. And so we can get creative with the numbers. At the end of the day, I mean, money's money. Obviously, we both have to make money. We both have to be invested. But if you put your interest first, it's not gonna be a long-term play.
You can't win that way. And it's they rise, you rise, we rise together. That's what I like about it. And that's the key to everyone that's been successful in this industry, or maybe any industry, is that
no burning bridges, no burning any bridges. You know what I mean? Like helping each other out. Like, bro, I feel like you are a great testament of that, because you always bring that good energy. You always try to help people out. You always try to connect people.
Absolutely.
Bro, it's like, sometimes it's like, I mean, that's a very selfless thing, right? To connect other people, and for like you did with this guy, what's his name? Alex Chavez.
Oh yeah.
Like you're like, oh guys, you guys need to
he's
talk.
my neighbor, by the way.
Yeah.
Shout out
You're like,
Alex
you
Chavez.
guys need to talk.
Yeah.
You guys need to talk.
In New York.
Yeah, in New York. So man, that's what it's all about. So I've learned a lot of those things from you too, by the way.
Good. Well, we learn from each other. That's what it comes down to. I want to ask you something that I want to talk about, because I think this is very, very cool, right? You grew up in Cuba? Is that where you were born exactly?
Yeah.
So I don't know if this goes back to childhood, like recently. Did you ever imagine your life would be like this? I mean, maybe you went to architecture school, right? So maybe you be an architect. I mean, I want to talk about that. Talk about this evolution and this whole thing from growing up in Cuba to being like a master at paper call.
Man, it's humbling, bro. It's really, really humbling, bro. Like, dude, I would go to school on a horse. Like, you know what I mean? Like the first time I saw a computer was when I come to the States at 11. Like, I had no idea. Like, I shouldn't be here right now. That I think about this every day that I wake up. I'm
That's
blessed.
amazing.
I'm blessed to wake up in freedom, in the land of freedom. I'm blessed to be an American now. I'm proud of my roots, but sometimes I'm like, oh my God, how did I get this lucky? And I know it's not just luck. I mean, my family and I, we both worked our asses off to come to the States in the first place. And then, I worked my ass through school and college, and I've looked for those opportunities. But man, it's very humbling to know where I come from. I'll be honest with you. Sometimes I'm like, oh man, like I'm blessed. You have to be blessed, and you have to be, stay humble and understand where you come from, and always have that perspective of like, yeah, I want more. But also, look back and say, oh my God, like life is crazy. It kind of opens up your mind to like, man, anything is achievable once you put your mind to it. Yeah. I know it sounds, it might sound cheesy to say it that way, but it's true, bro. Like, I think that when you have purpose and when you have a goal in mind, everything else is achievable, man. And so, very humbling, bro. Very humbling, man. Very, very humbling, bro.
That's beautiful. And my mom's Venezuelan, right? So I got Hispanic heritage as well. And I love it when you see Hispanics coming to America and work hard, bust their ass. My mom came work here, $6 an hour she was making minimum wage, working 16 hours. That's where I get my work ethic. I saw my mom do it. I saw my aunt, all of them do that stuff, right? Came from Venezuela. And so that means a lot to me. So to see, I think the Hispanic population is the future of America. It's going to keep growing, work hard, create more businesses and those things. So what I wanted to say is I know you have people working for you in Latin America.
Yeah.
I do as well. And maybe lo decimos en español, like, tú puedes dar un mensaje para los latinos que están trabajando mucho, que no saben mucho del internet, no saben mucho de affiliate marketing. ¿Cuál es un mensaje, un consejo para ellos?
¿En Spanish?
Yeah, in Spanish.
Okay, en Spanish, okay. Bueno, primero que todo, que todo es posible. Cuando uno tiene un propósito y uno se enfoca en ese propósito, creo que todo es posible. No importa de dónde seas, de dónde vienes, cuáles son tus circunstancias en este momento. Pienso que eso no determina tu potencial. Y el momento que te das cuenta de eso y eliminas todas las excusas que son muy fáciles tener excusas porque, o sea, miras a tu alrededor y, por ejemplo, si estás en un lugar como, no sé, Venezuela, que la cosa está bien dura, o en Cuba, tú dices, coño, ¿sabes? Te resignas a, ¿sabes qué? Esto es lo que me tocó y no hay mucho que puedo hacer. Pero creo que eso es como que una manera muy fácil de salir de una manera muy cómoda, ¿no? Pienso que no importa dónde estés, siempre hay una manera de salir adelante y de mejorar. Y esas mejorías no tienen que ser de un día para el otro convertirte en un millonario, pero creo que como un buen edificio se construye con una buena fundación y poco a poco vas construyendo capas y esas capas y esos capítulos y esos nuevos pisos se convierten más interesantes en tu vida. Entonces, pienso que mirarlo desde ese punto de vista, tener una mentalidad que diga sí a las oportunidades, que aproveche las oportunidades, que nunca deje una oportunidad irse y nada, o sea, no importa en qué industria, puede ser affiliate marketing, la industria en que estamos ahora es una industria muy interesante por todo lo que está sucediendo y por los macroeconómicos y porque estamos en una era digital, pero pienso que en cualquier tipo de industria puedes ser exitoso si tienes la mentalidad correcta para hacerlo. Entonces, nada, a todo el mundo le invito a que luche por sus sueños, que nunca deje de luchar y que, nada, el que pierde es el que deja de luchar.
Wow. Yo no sé cómo, how to hacer una respuesta en español, but that was really powerful what you said. And we'll probably have to put some subtitles to that, right? But that was amazing because at the end of the day, it's what you're exposed to becomes your reality, right?
100%.
And I've seen there's a lot of phenomenal media buyers in Latin America,
oh,
right?
Yeah.
And they know how to target the growing Hispanic population. Not even the Hispanic English; it's just very creative and hardworking, right? And that's why I like when I go to Colombia, I see these hardworking people. You saw it in our call center.
100%.
People working hard, they appreciate the opportunity, right? And that's what I saw with my mom when she came. My mom just appreciated work. She was like, listen, this is what's putting food on the table. I got to fucking make this shit happen. So, and I think you get that, and I love that. And I love that we gave that message to the growing Hispanic population because it's just going to keep growing. And it's just a great marketing opportunity. I know you guys do a lot in the Hispanic market as well. And we're providing value too. It's not like, I do Spanish marketing. I do it for solar. We do it in other
great
verticals.
market, man.
Huge market.
Great market.
Yeah.
Great market.
Yeah.
Great market. I mean, I can tell you, especially that space, which is what I can talk about the most. It's we treat it as two completely independent verticals, like Spanish debt and English debt, because it's a completely different consumer. We're talking about people that have a different perspective of things. I mean, Americans are, they know the rights. They know there's different ways to avoid the problem.
Yeah.
But I think Hispanics, they have a lot of respect for being in a land of freedom. That's one, and being in a place that's also not theirs. They're kind of like an outsider, so they want to respect the rules more. So for some reason, the data doesn't lie. I mean, the consumer in the Spanish community ends up being way more loyal to all these programs. Whatever it is, call it Medicare, call it debt. Way more loyal, and it's way easier to market to them. And also, maybe I shouldn't say this, but there's way less competition.
It's true. It's just more, and people don't know how to target. And the things that you grew up in Cuba, you can speak the language, like you get it more than somebody that hasn't. You understand the
We
struggle.
know the ins and outs.
You know the ins and outs, right? And my dad passed away a month ago, but he would always say how my
Sorry to hear
mom,
that, man.
I appreciate that, but he would always say it was funny because my mom, when she came to America, there'd be like an English grocery store a block away. She wouldn't go there. They always spoke English there. She would go walk half a mile to go to the Hispanic grocery store. I'd go with her, and then we carry these fucking bags, right? But like, that's how it is. That loyalty is what it comes down to. And there's an insane amount of loyalty, but you have to speak to the consumer in the right language, because I've seen so many, especially on solar, like I want Spanish leads. And then guess what happens? They get the call, the transfer, the call, the lead, and someone English is speaking to them. They fuck it up. Or they get someone Hispanic set up the appointment, but then someone American comes to the house. They fuck up the whole lead. It's got to be consistent, cohesive. And then and Hispanics they're more willing to convert. But the thing is, there's also a less trustworthy factor. Like, they're not going to trust you at face value. They're going to ask a lot of questions. So it might take longer to close that sale, but you have to be properly. So the advertiser has to be prepared for that shit.
Yes.
But if you do that right on the back end, fuck, it's going to pay dividends for you.
100%. It's going to be a loyal customer. You're going to, I think going back to loyalty, right? I think retention is such a big thing in the space.
Huge.
Especially with so many people competing for the same customer, right? So how do you get that retention is by building that trust. Again, going back to trust, going back to transparency, going back to building that relationship with the customer. You got to do that in that scale too, right? How do we build the trust with the customer? How do we become a lifetime partner? How can I put their interest before our monetary interest? I think that when you focus on the customer or the client or the partner, it always, life pays you back.
Yeah.
Somehow. Man, I have a question for you actually, because I know you always talk about your mom being an immigrant. Well, how about your dad, man?
Yeah.
Was he an immigrant too? Like,
yeah, no, my dad, that's the Polish side. So I'm Stodolak because of my dad's
crazy
side.
mix, man.
It is a crazy Venezuelan Polish mix. It's funny. So, but I grew up with my mom. My mom's who I grew up with, right? They got separated when I was super young. I never really saw them together. But yeah, the guy was in the Marines, fucking phenomenal shape, right? Always had me young, exercising, doing push-ups when I was younger. So I got a lot from my mom's also very active. She's 70 years old. She's got a fucking six-pack, man. It's like crazy. So
bro.
I get a lot of the energy, vitality from them. But yeah, man, there's that guy. I got the polar side from him, man. I ran track. I was pretty fast. He was very fast, good athlete, that kind of thing. So yeah, I learned. My dad was very, what do you call it? He'd have an idea. He'd have to see it through. I got that from him.
That's awesome.
You get an idea, you see it through.
Persistence.
Persistence. I definitely got that from him, for sure. So yeah, I appreciate you asking that, because
of course, man.
Our parents make us who they are. And
I'm curious. Yeah, I'm curious, man. I'm curious because I know that your mom. You always talk about your mom being an immigrant and stuff, but you also talk about how much fun you had with your dad, and I know he's Polish, but I was just curious to know if he actually migrated from Poland or he was born here.
So his parents, it's funny because when he passed away, I found out all this shit about him, like stuff I didn't know, and I kind of like, what I would say to the
Sorry
audience.
to get personal.
No,
bro.
it's fine. But no, this is great though, because I think that business, if your shit's not right at home, you're not going to be super successful at business. You'll fuck things up, and I've been there before, where like making a lot of money and things aren't going good. Especially like 10 years ago, crazy shit, right? And you sabotage yourself, especially as men. Men have a tendency to do dumbass shit, right? So anyway, that being said, what the fuck was I talking about? We're talking about my dad, right? So the point is that, so then when my dad, I go all in tangents, man. So the point is that when he passed away, I found all this stuff. I saw the ship that his parents came on from Poland to America. I saw like the ticket to New York. I'm like, damn,
that's crazy.
This shit is like crazy. It bugged me out. I'm like, this is nuts. Like they had the balls, and there's a book called The Hypomaniac Edge. I recommend everyone read this book. It talks about what makes America successful is that America is a nation of risk takers. The risk takers are the immigrants.
100%.
For your family to come here from Cuba, most people didn't leave Cuba. There's like this perception, 90% of people left Cuba to come here. That's not, it's only a small percentage of people that left Italy, that left wherever, Poland. It was like less than 1%, a tenth of 1%, right?
For sure.
So those fucking people, to leave their country, where it's safe, they understand the language, to go on a fucking boat where you don't know what's going to happen on that boat, land in another country, not have any fucking money.
Start from zero.
So America is a nation of immigrants that
Hustlers.
they're risk takers is what it is.
Yeah.
So those are the risk takers. My grandmother and my grandfather on the Polish side were risk takers. Just like on my Venezuelan side, my Aunt Gladys was the first one. No, she's the second one that came to America from Venezuela. So that's probably what makes it. We don't talk about this enough. I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah.
Your family's risk takers, right?
Absolutely.
You become a risk taker. My family's risk takers, immigrant risk takers with hard work ethic. That gives it a leg up, right?
Bro, it's like
That's
when,
what it comes
I
down
think
to.
it's like Tony Robbins that said that, right? Like, tough times create strong people,
Yeah.
right? And then strong people create easy times, and then easy times create weak people. I think that we come from the background, having like a tough background, or coming from, bro, immigration and starting from zero, and the struggle of seeing my mom kind of like, be a university professor to come to the States to kind of like knock on doors to get a cleaning job, and doing anything to help us, get ahead. It's tough, bro. It's crazy, man. And that stuff is like, it humbles you, and it makes you kind of grateful for being in a place of freedom, being in a place of opportunity, and not letting that opportunity go. You know what I mean? Because our parents sacrificed a lot for us to be here, and so it's gonna be tough to teach that to our kids.
I know,
because our kids kind of have like an easier time than us, but it's that perspective, I think, makes us who we are, makes us hustle more.
Absolutely.
And every time I think about how my parents just, left everything behind for us, I'm like, fuck, I gotta make this count.
You have an obligation.
I have to make this count, bro. I can't let them down. You know what I mean?
Bro, you almost made me cry. I saw you get emotional. I started to get emotional because it's the same thing. And like you said, your mom educated, they're great, and then she took a little step back for the greater good.
Huge
And that talks about, that's humbling, right? And she teaches you that, but you honored that. You took the baton and like, boom, look where you're at now, right? And that's the best way we could honor our parents. Right? And my mom came with me to Colombia, like after you came in November, she came with me in December. It was so fucking nice. We went to the waterfall. Next time you come, we got to check these. There's so much beautiful parts in the central part. They got like the coffee growing region, beautiful water.
Colombia's
I took it
nice,
with me. We had such a fucking blast. And that was like one way for me to repay her. And, my dad always wanted to go to San Francisco, and I took him there one time, like how long ago this was, a while ago, but I'm so glad we did that. Those memories, because we work hard, we bust our asses.
For what?
Yeah,
for our family,
what?
bro.
For our families,
family.
right? So create those memories. So I'm glad you brought that up, because that's something I don't think people talk about enough. And when you have those experiences with them, you look at those pictures like, wow, it makes you feel good. It makes you it's motivation. You want to keep fucking going. You want to keep providing those memories. And no, it's a great thing. But I almost started breaking down. I'm like, I'm gonna start crying. But it's good though. It's good to talk about that.
Yeah, man. It's like your why, right? It's like the root of like, why do we wake up every day wanting to like, do the best thing we can to get ahead and to do it for our families. At the end of the day, we do it for our families, bro. Like, let's be honest.
Create a legacy, right?
Create a legacy. Obviously, you gotta love the process, right?
Yeah.
There's nobody in their right mind would build a business if they didn't somehow love the process of building a business, because business is not sunshines and rainbows all the time. You go through like, bro, obstacles, and it's your ability to overcome those obstacles that gets you ahead. Yeah. Right. And so, yeah, man, I think it's good to talk about our background. I think it's good to talk about how that inspires us to do great things. And, going back to our industry, bro, I'm glad that we are in an industry with so much opportunity. And there's a lot of obstacles in that industry too. Let's not avoid that side of the conversation. But I think if you look at everything the way that you look at things, and I think I somehow have a little bit of that too, right?
Absolutely.
That in a very kind of like forward-thinking way, in a way of like, whatever obstacles come our way, we'll adapt, we'll survive. And if you have that kind of like way of looking at things, I think that it doesn't matter what changes come in. It could be political changes, it could be macroeconomic changes. You always find a way out.
100%. Guys, this was fucking great. I think we're gonna have tons of shorts from this. we might break a record on the shorts. You hit a lot of key gems, man, and I appreciate you doing that. And it wasn't just about our business. We talked about personal stuff. It's all connected. And those are the little things that get you to where you're. You look at any great person that's accomplished great things, whether they're billionaires as philanthropists or people that are just, people that are like, And like you talk about, what's the fucking lady name? She was very Mother Teresa, right? They're providing impact, and there's a story behind what created that impact. So I appreciate you talking about that story.
No, thank you for coming, man. Thank you for coming.
And
to
then I
our
appreciate
office.
this was. I thought we were gonna do like a quick 5-10 minute thing. This turned into like a whole full thing, man. Great value. I know people got a lot of value out of this. So how can people find out more about you, Manny?
I mean, they can find me on Instagram. I think Instagram is a place where we all connect. On LinkedIn too, Manuel Petruj. That's Petruj. Petruj. Manuel Petruj. Instagram, and you can. Well, I'm happy to connect with anybody that has any questions about what we're doing or ways that they want to partner with us or grow with us. Man, we're always open to talking to people. You know what I mean?
And you have a great social media too. You post like motivational stuff on there all the time. You show people the behind the scenes of what goes on. So I recommend following Manny. I think you're only going to continue to grow. You and your company, you got a great team, and I'm fucking excited to see where you guys go. I think you guys are like at the tip of the iceberg. It's going to be one of those great success stories. So congratulations on everything,
Thank you. And we're glad that we're in a way kind of doing this with you guys, you know, because you guys are also part of our journey. So
partnerships, that's what it's about. Good
exactly.
partnerships.
Thank you for coming, brother.
Let's fucking go.